A nation divided. Will Troy begin peace negotiations with the Greeks? King Priam's popularity continues to wane. His approval rating drops another 3% this month. I'm Cedrick Thatcher for Trojan World News. Also in this program, the 3-year anniversary of the Thracian high school bombing approaches. Are our children safer? Draft dodgers dodge authorities. A shameful act. Pandora virus out of the box? Major threat for blogger hoax.
This is Trojan World News, bringing the world to you.
Tonight we take a look at a nation torn between the certainty of continued war and the possibility of negotiating a lasting peace. Trojan World News has received information from a high-ranking government source indicating that the Greeks have sent a representative to Troy to discuss possible ceasefire negotiations. If such a negotiation came to fruition, Troy would see an end to the 9 long years of fighting it has endured. But at what cost? The complex economic and political issues involved demand that such a decision not be made lightly. King Priam's sometimes questionable leadership has left doubts in the minds of some Trojans as to whether or not he is capable of guiding our country in a bright and prosperous future. However this weighty situation unfolds, all eyes will certainly be on our king, whose reign will surely be defined by his decision. This surprising development has led to swift response among the Trojan population and seemed to divide the nation into 2 opposing factions. Earlier today, TWN interviewed some of Troy's citizens to garner reaction to the rumored ceasefire negotiations.
My brother was killed in Ithaca by a roadside bomb. If we quit now, Priam would not only dishonor his memory, but that of everyone who gave their lives for this country.
We should have pulled out of this war years ago. We are in debt up to our eyeballs. All the other countries basically hate us. And who's paying for all this? We are, the citizens of Troy. Priam's lucky he's still king with the way he's been running things. I'm all for a peace treaty, you know? I don't want my little girl growing up with all this violence and war. She's sensitive the way it is.
Kim Phelan, can you please bring back my daddy?
Repent, the end is near. Repent in your BMW. Repent, you repent. I think peace is good. Peace. The gods want us to have peace. We should all have peace. War is very bad. But I have a message for Priam. A message from Zeus. Zeus spoke to me. Zeus wants Priam to know. Beware of Greeks bearing gifts, Zeus says to me. Priam, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Zeus. Zeus! 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 Zeus speaks to me! Zeus! 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 Zeus!
For further analysis of this complicated situation, we have invited former ambassador to Greece and author of the Trojan Times bestseller, Priam, the Limbo King, Eric Scotolati. Thank you for joining us today, Eric.
Thank you for having me.
Also with us is author and popular political blogger, Miss Ann Stanton, whose sometimes controversial blog, The Real Deal, has raised some eyebrows amongst the Trojan public.
Good evening, Cedrick. It's so wonderful to be here.
Now, Eric, Is the king really invested in signing a peace treaty with the Greeks, or is this just some ploy to raise his numbers?
Ah, no. I think he's absolutely committed to pursuing the path of peace. I mean, after our country's been at war for close to 10 years with no clear winner, our only choice is to put an end to this senseless violence, and it would certainly bolster our international reputation.
Anne, would you agree?
Well, first, Cedric, I'd like to say how much I respect Eric's point of view. Yet, from the thousands of hits I receive on my blog daily, I would venture to say that he speaks for only a small percentage of the population. I mean, what he fails to realize is that this conciliatory gesture displays nothing but Trojan weakness. Consequently, to expect the global community to continue to back us after such a demoralizing act is practically absurd.
Eric?
To sue for peace is hardly a demoralizing act. It's imperative that we end this killing and move out of the shadow of war, not to mention that it is the only viable economic alternative.
How do you mean?
Well, with the depletion of our own resources and so little support coming in from the outside, we've hit a point where we can no longer maintain a long-term engagement with the Greeks. The window of opportunity to retract from the war has come. We must act before things deteriorate further.
And Eric makes a good point.
Of course, you'd say that. What he fails to account for is the historical evidence that a wartime economy has a direct and demonstrable tendency to expand.
And I think you're mistaken
I'm
there.
not mistaken. It's a historical fact that's been proven time and time again.
In some cases that may appear to be true, yes. But we've been in a sustained conflict for close to 10 years, with the death toll pushing 61,000 and our economic viability seriously compromised. The people's hope is fading fast.
You see, Cedric, it's just that bleeding heart liberal mindset that Eric here holds that's the problem. I mean, we would have had this war won 5 years ago if it weren't for them hamstringing us, tying our hands behind our backs, and not allowing us to wage this war the way we should have.
Liberalism is not the
question here. We should have pushed the Spartans back to their own shores from the very beginning. We must now reestablish our position of superiority in the region in order to reestablish our traditional Trojan values here at home and bring the freedoms that the Trojan way of life affords to oppressed people like those in Sparta.
Seriously, Anne? I mean, this is just the same jingoistic claptrap that has got us so deeply entrenched in this conflict in the first place. Next, you'll be throwing around ideas like preemptive engagement, regime change.
Jingoism, Eric? I don't think so. I'm talking about patriotism, the sense of well-deserved national pride. I mean, to even think of supporting the idea of negotiating a peace with those terrorists that have assailed our treasured way of life is not only a slap in the face to the heroes that have given their lives for Troy, but borders dangerously close to treason.
Are you really implying that the king is a traitor, Anne?
And, Eric, I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut you short there. Clearly, this issue brings about passionate feelings on both sides. I do thank you both for joining us.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Anytime, Cedric. Anytime.
TWN has just received confirmation from the King's press secretary that meetings are in fact being held to establish the parameters of a temporary ceasefire. These negotiations are being conducted with the aim of working toward a swift and lasting peace. King Priam and the Greek representative Sinon are scheduled to meet in closed-door negotiations later this evening. We'll have more on this rapidly developing story right after this break.